I'm waiting for, there we go. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments with regards to the agenda before we approve? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda of the last meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At this point in time, I would like to just open up with questions or with the amendments that the body may have to provide to staff. Councilwoman Clear.
Surprise. On the budget calendar, I don't know who I'm asking, it says council finalizes budget on the 12th, and she just said we put it in publication on the 12th. Then we have a public hearing, and then we adopt. So when you put it in publication, is that binding?
Ms. Lee.
Thank you for clarifying that. So what you're actually doing when you're setting the maximum expenditures on the 12th is that you're setting the maximum amount. So you're saying, as a governing body, we cannot go any higher than this, and that's especially important for the mill-supported funds, so the debt service, the general fund, and the special liability. So technically, if it was the desire of the governing body, and you desired to go lower or that exact same amount after that date, you technically could do that. So if you came back in August and there was a last-minute change the night of budget adoption, you could do so. And you could not change any of the bottom line amounts.
So the bottom line is being what?
It kind of depends on what happens tonight. So tonight, once the budget comes out of committee, we'll go and over the next few days put them in the state forms, which officially figures out what the final contingency amount, what the official contingency amounts are, what the mill levy amounts are, and then you'll get that total bottom line number on the night of the 12th. So it will essentially reflect everything in the proposed budget plus any changes tonight.
But if we hear like from public comment and then have some changes, we're not set to that. We can change that. The bottom, we can change how we spend it, but we can't change the bottom line. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Schwartz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my question goes along with that. We had a letter to the editor in the paper today from a constituent of mine who said that there was no time for public input. The timeline says there's a public hearing on 8/9. The council adopts the budget on 8/9, but the budget must be adopted by 8/25. So when is there time for public input?
Okay, thank you. Really what I would say is that the best time for public comment is really throughout the entire spring and the entire budget season. So we start, I would say, the public meetings related to the budget really back in January and February is when we have the first budget priority conversation with you all. Of course, they're in a public forum. They're open for public comment. In April and May and March, actually, we have open houses related to the CIP, related to the budget. Those are really the best time that we encourage people to come out because that's really gives enough time to be able to react to it.
Okay. Well, Nikki, I'm looking for a public hearing with public input, not, a hearing that, like we do in council meetings, that we have an ordinance, we're going to have testimony on it or whatever, and then which provides public input. I know what you're saying, that we had an open house, we had meetings. We never opened up those meetings for anybody from the public to get up and testify. So when does the public have the opportunity to come up and testify on the budget?
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman, I would reiterate what Ms. Lee said. Those are all open and well advertised, and so certainly, for example, the budget open house, we had a lot of folks there coming and telling us how things ought to be spent. I might also say that we, as a part of our typical processes, we have public hearings and adoptions on the same evening for lots of issues. I mean, just most recently, we had a public hearing and adoption for Lawrence Bay special assessments in the same night. So it's not unique to our process. In fact, it's fairly consistent.
Well, that really doesn't satisfy me as far as getting public input at a public hearing. And I would make a motion that we add another meeting so that we can have public hearing, whether it's August 2nd or one of the weeks that we're going to be gone 4 weeks. We're not going to be having meetings for 4 weeks. I mean, that's a question. Are we not having any meetings for 4 weeks?
City Manager?
That's correct.
Go ahead. So we presented this calendar back in the fourth quarter of last year. We've worked on it. We will respond to whatever this body wants. This is consistent with how we've done things. There have been plenty of opportunities for people to participate in the budget process. I hear your request clearly. I think that it's a determination that needs to be made by this body as to whether they feel that we have not provided adequate opportunities for people to participate in the budget process. And if so, we'll have to figure out what it means. I think maybe Doug could take a minute and talk about, from a legal perspective, what it means in terms of separating, or Lisa, in terms of separating this and what it does to our time frame. We're willing to do whatever that this body directs us to do. Our job is to provide a recommended budget to the body, to answer questions, to be very open through the process. And I think we've been doing that since January of this year. And it is very consistent with how we've done it in the past, but we serve at your pleasure, and we will do as this body needs. We've had a budget that has been presented clearly, has been provided a tremendous amount of information, and if the accusation is that we haven't been open to people's input, I think that's an inaccurate accusation.
And that's not the accusation. The accusation is give opportunity for the public to come up and testify on the budget.
Okay. Understood.
Councilwoman Clear?
I agree, and one reason, you may have heard what they wanted at these meetings. I didn't hear what they wanted, and I haven't been told what they said. You know, if you had a lot of people there and they mentioned how they want the money to be spent, I'd like to know what they said. And I think a public input, and I don't know if we can then adopt the budget on the 16th. Aren't we here on the 16th? I mean, why can't we add another week and make it the 16th and not the 9th? Because we're still adopting it on time.
Deputy City Manager?
I mean, if that, again, I'd reiterate what Mr. Colson said, if that's what the governing body wishes to do, some cities do it that way, some cities do it the way we've done it typically, so it can work in either fashion.
Councilwoman Ortiz?
Thank you. I think here recently, we have stopped kind of the public hearings, and I'd like to see them reiterated. And I agree with Mr. Colson, your job is to present it, and you've done that. Our job is to take it, study it, tear it apart. This is the most important thing that we do as council members, is this budget. And a part of that is things might change from January to now, you know, and I would like to see us set aside, well, I'd like to see us do it differently, but I know people disagree with it. I'd like to hear department from department, so I know what to study instead of studying the whole book. I'm sorry, I don't have time to study the whole book, but when you chunk it out and break it down, I do have time then. But to where do I start and where do I finish is very hard, and I'd like to hear from constituents. So I totally agree. Your job is to present it. We've always gotten it July 2nd to study it, and our job is to take it, tear it apart, put it back together, and fix it. You know, so that's where I feel like we've kind of missed the mark. I don't go to your budget hearing, so I agree. I don't get to hear that. So I would like for us to have that testimony and have people come and talk on what's important to them, because this is their money. And I haven't heard, I've heard a lot, and I haven't heard a lot, but I'm sure there's more out there. So I would agree. I think we need to really, really look at that. Thank you.
Thank you all for your comments. For what I'm hearing is the body is reiterating the sense that Staff has done an excellent job in communicating and providing opportunities to provide input prior to the budget being set. And it seems that the desire of the body as well is, now that we have talked about departments, that we have talked about what shape the budget is going to take, that there is a desire to have further communication with our constituency and provide the opportunity for constituents to come over and speak to us in this body with regards to what they've heard so far in all of our meetings. My question to staff at this point in time would be, and to legal probably, would it be adequate for us tonight to have the discussion? Could a public hearing be done as a committee, or would the budget have to leave the body of the budget committee to go into council so that we could have the public meeting set, and that way we could have the body agree on what we feel those changes are right now, and we approve that budget to send it to the body of the council, which is the same group, and then the next meeting, when we have the budget being presented, we can open it up to public hearing on the 12th of July, and then move forward with whatever amendments or comments we hear from the constituency. City Manager,
Yeah,
yes.
Deputy Mayor, if we could take a 5-minute recess, we want to make sure from a legal and technical perspective, we have this right. We're kind of working through some calendar dates right here. I have to share this. We meet on this probably every day, and one of the things that we reiterate every day is exactly what Ms. Ortiz said. We want to make sure that you understand what we're hearing, that we're sharing this information, and we diligently have tried to do that. We understand that this is the most important thing that you do, that this is the document that drives and guides us as an organization. So there's no pushback here. I think what we're trying to do is figure out how we can provide the necessary technical steps to get us from where we're at to where we need to be. This budget's done only at one time, and that's when you say it is. And we understand that. We start from that perspective.
Thank you, City Manager. We will have a brief recess.